What are you doing? Oh, is it a butterfly? Oh, it's a little butterfly. Hey guys, Doc. Today's going to be a mashup. Bunch of different subjects. I've been shooting little clips for the past 2 days, and it's like, what am I going to do with all these clips? So I'm just going to mash them all together. I'm going to talk a little bit about Dallisgrass inside of Bermuda grass. A couple people have been asking, or a lot of people have been asking about that, so I'll touch on that. I'll show you a drainage, AC drainage thing I fixed over on barbs. We're going to talk about reel mower height. We're going to talk about, I put down some growth regulator again. I double cut the back. I'm using the new Greenskeeper reel mower on the green finally. There's enough grass out there. What else am I? It's just a bunch of stuff, so I'm just going to mash it all together. So hold on. Okay, so first of all, this really isn't a lawn care. This is more of a house thing. Everyone has these drainage tubes coming out of their house from their AC units, especially if you have your unit up in your attic. It's the blower unit that drains from condensation. The other day I saw a barb out there, and she had a pot under her thing because it drains right by the house. She was all worried about it. She was going out every 2 or 3 times a day and emptying the pot. And then she went to Lowe's, and I saw her out there with this tubing, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm trying. I said, just let me fix it. So the next morning I went to Lowe's and I bought simple stuff. It's real easy to fix. So let me show you what I've done. So almost all these drainage pipes are 3/4 inch. I don't know if I've ever seen one that's not a 3/4 inch. I guess they have some 1/2 inch, but they're almost all 3/4 inch pipes. So here's barbs. So it was coming up down to here. So it was draining right here next to the house. 90, a little piece of pipe, 90, and then a pipe, and I'm running it out here to our lawn. So that's how we fix it. So if you have one of those things you need to move it out, just move it out in your yard. It's real simple. Again, it's like a $3 fix. Okay, so you'll want to click subscribe, and there's a reason why. Because we're going to scalp this front down. I'm tired of it being longer than I want, and I want to do some leveling. So we're going to scalp this basically almost down to dirt, do some leveling, hit subscribe. We're going to do that next week. I'm going to show you real quick a cheap way to measure your cutting height. Now they sell a tool, but it's expensive. It's like a $200 gauge. It's a blade with a gauge already built into it. But all you really need is a piece of steel. This is, so you understand, I went to Lowe's. This is welding steel, 3/16 by 2 by 3 foot. This is actually too long. I really should. I'm going to have one of the guys at the shop cut it in half for me. But basically what you want to do is, so what you have to do is you have to be able to measure from the rear wheel to the front roller. Only way to do that is to get it fully off the ground. And what you want to do is you want to measure from the rear wheel to the front roller, and then the distance is your cutting height. So mine is showing about 1/4 inch. Basically it's from your rear wheel to your front roller, and then the distance from this blade to your bed knife is your cutting height. See it? That's how it works. So the little gap in here is your cutting height. And that's how she works. It's 7 o'clock at night. What am I doing out here? The thunderstorms that came through only produced about a 1/2 inch of rain. Really was nothing spectacular. So anyways, today I came out and I adjusted my reel mower. I'm going to show you how to adjust the bed knife, reel knife, measure it. Another way to do it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of water. I'm going to wet my grass since we're past sunset. I'm going to put a light coat of the granular growth regulator down. Link down below to everything. I'm getting wet again. And then I might even put out just a little bit of PGF Complete, just to darken this up a little bit. And a lot of people say, well, why you fertilize if you're putting down growth regulator? You don't fertilize your grass, you fertilize your soil, so the nutrients are there. So if the plant wants a nutrient, it's there. I'm not really pushing my grass. I'm only going to put out like 1/4 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. It's very light. But I haven't put it out in a while here. So that's what I'm doing. I already cut this twice. I double cut this. I dropped my blade height down a little bit more, and I cut it once this afternoon. I just came out again and I cut it again. So I double cut it. I'm really trying to get this low. I really want this at 1/2 inch. That's where I want to keep it. The main method I tell you guys to do with this growth regulator is come out early in the morning and put it in the dew. But I ran each station for about 3 to 4 minutes. And so now I have a light dew on my grass and it's night. So I'm going to put it out and it'll sit all night long and sort of stick to the blades. And it's a good way to do it. Again, I'm doing light coats of this growth regulator. I'm testing this about every 2.5 weeks. I'm putting out a half coat. And it seems to be working well, but I really want to shut this grass off. I want to shut it off, so that's what I'm doing. So let's talk about the green for a minute. The green is actually doing much better. And what I've been doing is I've been spraying it with super juice every week with a little bit of extra iron inside of it. And the reason why I'm doing that is simply because my phosphorus level is a little bit high back here. But now that I'm doing that, it's really looking nice. The seed that we planted back here, which is a dwarf creeping bent and blue, I am seeing germination. I'm seeing a little bit grow. Nothing aggressive yet, but it's real hot. It's a tough time to get that stuff to grow. But it's putting really well. Even though we didn't really plan to be putting on it this year, it puts pretty well. Oh. Dude, I couldn't do that in 1,000 years if I wanted to again. All right, so let's take a minute and let's talk about Dallisgrass. While we're at it, we'll talk about goosegrass and crabgrass. Crabgrass is pretty simple. In the description below, I'll link to a crabgrass killer that you can spray on your lawn, and it's made by Bayer or Bio-Advanced. Crabgrass is actually pretty easy. Then the next season you put down pre-emergent. The hard one is Dallisgrass or even goosegrass. Because if you have a Bermuda lawn, really the products that I'm going to list below, they don't necessarily kill right away. Which means that you generally have to put down one treatment, and come back in 3 or 4 weeks, do another treatment, and then in the spring, come back and do another treatment. And you need to read and follow the labels on these things. So let me show you a nice little patch of it here. So this is what I'm talking about right here. See this? And look at those seed heads. These seed heads will produce. That is not. This is crabgrass. So this is crab. This is crabgrass right here. That's crabgrass. And then that, you're going to have either Dallas or goose. And this whole area used to have a ton of it. And we did follow the instructions and we worked it. Now let me show you a big patch back here, just so you can see it. And I might come spray some of this for you guys. I have some Revolver. Revolver is expensive, but it works. Same thing. You're not going to kill it. Follow the instructions. You're not going to kill it right away. You'll probably have to come back and do one coat, let it be 3 or 4 weeks, come back and hit it again. And then in the spring, when it starts to grow, hit it again and put down heavy pre-emergent. Okay, so I'll break in here real quick and I'll go ahead and I'll show you if you have crabgrass. When the temperatures start to cool off a little bit, this is the Bio-Advanced all-in-one lawn weed and crabgrass killer. This is safe for Bermuda, but it is not safe for Baja, coppergrass, centipede, St. Augustine. So follow the instructions on this, people. Otherwise you can burn back your Bermuda. Not going to kill your Bermuda, but you may burn it back. Don't apply it when it's super, super hot. But this will do a very effective job on your crabgrass. Okay, my favorite way to deal with Dallas and goosegrass is the sponge method. No, it's not birth control. We're talking about weed control. And what I like to do is I like to mix up a little bit of glyco. So if you want to use, oh, I'm going to say it. He's going to say it. Roundup. Yeah, I'm poisoning the earth. I get it. Mix up a little bit of glyco and then dip the sponge in it. And then go up to the individual clumps and paint those individual clumps with the glyco. Let it die off for about a week and then go dig it up. Now, because it has rhizomes and you could potentially kill off some of the stuff that you can't see when you dig it up. I much prefer that method than spraying it. The one thing you do not want to do, some people have said, once your Bermuda grass goes dormant, spray it with a glyco and kill off the Dallisgrass. Your Bermuda grass really never goes dormant, and I proved that last year. I went out to a completely brown patch of grass and I scalped it down and I showed you that there's actually green little grass down below. So you have the potential to kill your Bermuda grass even though it's quote-unquote dormant. So please don't apply a glyco product, an indiscriminate killer, to a Bermuda grass even though you think it's dormant, because it never is. Please do not do that. You take this with a sponge, you dab it, and you go and paint. It's a time-consuming process, but this is for those people, that have 10 or 20 pieces of Dallisgrass. You go paint it and just let it die off. Well, why don't you put it into a tank sprayer and spray? Because you're going to spray and you're going to have a big brown circle on your lawn when you do that, when you spray it. I would much rather see you go up and just paint the grass and go to the center and dab the center a little bit. And then just leave it. Just let it die off for about a week or two. After it dies off, then you can go pull it, put a little topsoil on top of it, and the Bermuda will move into it and fix it. Now, if you have if you're infested with Dallisgrass or goosegrass, that's when you need to use one of the products like Celsius, or I'll put a list down below of the ones. Monument, Celsius, there's a Revolver. I actually have Revolver on my shelf, even though it's very expensive. It works well, but again, you put it down, you'll see a little bit of burn back on the Dallisgrass. Then you need to come back in about 3 or 4 weeks and do another coat. Make sure you exactly apply the amount. It'll tell you like 1 ounce per gallon of water in a tank sprayer. It'll tell you how much to put in, and you want to stick to that. Don't increase it in thinking that you're going to kill it anymore. No, it's a process that you have to go through. So Dallisgrass has rhizomes, so it has runners, and it produces seeds. So you have to sort of fight both of those. Because if you have Dallisgrass in your yard, there's a chance you're moving your seeds around too. So in the late winter, we're going to really, really apply heavy pre-emergent. We're going to do it in 2 phases. We're going to do granular, and we're going to do the liquid. And if you go through and if you treat this fall, if you treat your Dallisgrass and kill it off, go back in a few weeks and treat some more and kill it off, and then come back in the late winter and put down real heavy pre-emergent, and then a month later put down another coat of pre-emergent with the liquid, you should get rid of your Dallisgrass problem. So that's how you handle Dallisgrass. Again, I'll link to a few different products that work in the description below, but Dallisgrass and goosegrass are they're pretty close relative as far as being hard to kill. Again, the crabgrass is not that hard. But with crabgrass, pre-emergent is the key to it, because crabgrass only grows back from its seed. It doesn't really have rhizomes, so it doesn't have roots that survive. It reseeds. So pre-emergent will take care of all your crabgrass. I only have 1 piece of crabgrass on my property. On this entire 18,000 square feet, I have 1 piece of crabgrass, even though it's all around me in the neighborhood. Let me show it to you. Just because I think it's kind of funny. So under my big banana tree here, I have 1 piece of crabgrass right there. I don't know why I leave it. I guess maybe so that I can say I have a weed. But proper pre-emergent is the key to a good lawn, because I don't have to apply any weed killers all growing season long, because I'm heavy on pre-emergent in the late winter and early spring. Granular, then the liquid. That's how we face it. Okay, so let's talk about how we fertilize in the summertime. PGF Complete has tiny, tiny particles, and it's a fully balanced. It's a 4:1:2 ratio, has humic DG inside of it, has 3% iron, plus it has micros. But it's very mild, and it has 3 types of nitrogen, and it has really expensive methylene urea nitrogen, which is a specialty slow release fertilizer. So the slow release combination, along with the fact that we're putting it down light, if you put it down at the bag rate, you're only putting down 0.58 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. I want you to understand something. The majority of fertilizers, when you put them down, you're putting them down almost always at 1 pound or more per 1,000 square feet. That's not the case with PGF. So if I put it down at half rate, I'm only putting down a 1/4 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, which is very light and it's slow release. So I have never, ever, in all my experimentation, been able to burn a lawn with PGF Complete for that reason. So I'm going to give you a little trick as far as how to apply a light coat of PGF Complete. And what I want you to do is I want you to open up the bag, and I want you to look, and I want you to see the largest size particle that you can find in that bag. And what I want you to do is I want you to set your spreader size just above that size. Why is that? Because what'll happen is, as the fertilizer goes through, the largest particle will block the hole if you don't have it large enough. Does that make sense? So you go to your lowest common or your largest common denominator, which is the largest size particle that you can see that can flow through your spreader, but at the same time putting it out at a super light rate. You can come out, I swear to you, you can come out every 2 weeks and do this PGF Complete on your lawn and not have any burning problems. That's how much you can apply it. I say put it down every 3 to 4 weeks. Hello, bee. I'm standing next to a bush that the bees love. And that's how I put down summer fertilizer. You can keep putting it down all summer long. Remember, you're not feeding your grass. You're putting nutrients into your soil, and if your grass wants it, it's going to take it up. The only thing that's going to immediately stimulate your grass definitely is the iron. And you'll see this deep blue-green color. It's just amazing the color pop that you get from it. So see this right here? Let me open it up. And you can see how small that gap is. See how small that gap is? And now let me put a couple particles in here. And I can tell that the largest particle in here will fit through those slots. You do not want to get to the end of your grass and then have these slots plugged up by large particles. So you do want to grab a couple handfuls and just look and just make sure. So I just want to make sure that the largest particle will fit through here. So let me give you one little tip on spreader, especially when you're doing it light. Spreaders have a bar at the back, and if you will basically push your spreader with that back bar, just skimming the grass, the angle of the throwing wheel will actually be up. And what you'll have is you'll have a broader throw and better coverage at a lighter rate. So let me show you. If you look at it like this, you can see that the spreader wheel is actually angled up. And if I tilt this down, I can see it. If I go walk normal like most people do, it's pointed straight ahead or down. If I want to reduce the size, I can point it down, but you want to have this bar basically dragging along the grass close to it. Wow, it is hot out here, folks. It is hot. So, scorching hot summertime, what's the best thing that you can put down on your lawn? There's 2 main things: PGF Complete and Humic, and that's what I'm going to put down now. Humic is a mix, 50-50 mix. It's 50% humic acid and it's 50% biochar. It's designed specifically for lawns, blah, 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 blah. Put it down anytime you want. There's no nutrients. There's no nutrients. So you can put down as much human char as you want. You can put it down every single week. You can put it down with anything you want. There's no limitations on human char. And basically what we're doing is we're adding to the CECs. Google that. What's a CEC in lawn? You'll learn it. I've done videos on it. But we've used it on the green. We use it on all our lawns. Use it in our gardens. We use it everywhere. So last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to put down some human char. Because I've got a bag that I opened and I need to use it. I'm just going to use it because it's sitting here open. Alright, so this is human char. 50% humic acid, 50% biochar. As soon as water touches it, just falls apart. Beautiful stuff. Oh man, what do you say, Linda? I think it's time to go inside. I think we've done too much work today. It's too hot. So Linda and I are gonna go inside, hit subscribe, wherever that button is, get the Bermuda Lawn Guide. She needs to go inside. Talk to you later. Doc.